Hey there! You have seen and heard me talk about this pen, the Pilot Plumix, and then Alan sent me the Pilot Pluminix, which, as you can see, it's like the Plumix, except that it's a lot smaller. And today we're going to cover that. And I have a cold, so I'm going to try and speak as clearly as I can, but if I sniffle like that, or cough or whatever, then you just have to bear with me. Alright, the Plumix. What's funny about the Plumix? Well, it's, as you can see, it's a fairly oddly shaped pen. It has some nice features. As I said, I have a review of this. Check it out if you're interested. It has one of these really small caps, which actually post. The reason is not entirely sure, but whatever. This, I think mine came with yes, it's a medium nib. It's an italic nib. It's kind of nice for calligraphy, small calligraphy. It has a very ergonomic section which you can hold. It has this nice little bulge there which sort of rests this part of your hand, and it's nice to use. Now that's the Plumix, and that's the Pluminix, which is, according to Alan, a bit of a sort of a ladies' pen. He asked me to put on lipstick as I did this video. Ain't gonna happen, but it was a nice try. The Pluminix actually has I think they come in a bunch of colors, and this barrel is blue. This is the same blue as the cap, but I've turned this into an eyedropper. That's why it's so dark. Okay, I'm going to cover the parts of the pen, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and I'll do a writing sample. It's really very similar to the Plumix, so I'm pretty sure some of you would like to see me do a shootout between the two pens. What I'm doing right now is switching the caps, so you can switch around the caps from the Plumix and the Pluminix. I don't know what the purpose would be, but if you like to play around with colors, that could be one thing to do. So the cap has this weird flared thing going on, and there are various theories about that. Some people say it's so that you can put it on a desk without it actually rolling off. Makes a lot of sense. Some people say that's where you grab it to open up the cap, etc. It screws off. I honestly don't know. I think all those theories make sense. Alright, you can see the cap is transparent. You can see the nib under that, but first let's have a look at the section. The section has these interesting facets going on, which allow you to grab it very well. It's very hard plastic, so this is not soft or rubbery at all. It's just hard plastic, but it's kind of nice. I appreciate it. It's nicely rounded off. It's not sharp. There are no real sharp ridges or corners or whatever, so that's pretty cool. So that's your section. The section is not covered by the cap, as with many pens, because it's just your small cap. Then you have the barrel. The barrel starts at about this point. So this is the size of the barrel. I'm not sure why you can see that, because as I said, it's eyedropper filled now. I guess you can sort of see it if I hold it up close. That bit you see there, that's a bit light blue. This is actually all section. So that's section, and then you get the barrel here. The barrel says Pilot Pluminix, whatever you're supposed to pronounce that, Pluminix, I don't know. One big advantage this pen has, and that the Plumix does not have, here you got the Plumix barrel, and at the very end of the Plumix barrel, there's an annoying little hole. And of course, at least I thought there was a hole. Maybe I tried to plug that. Maybe I'm completely screwing up and there was no hole at all. But I seem to remember there was a hole. I tried to fill this up, I think, as an eyedropper, and something went wrong. Either ink just came through the section, or it dripped out there. I think it dripped from the end of that. It looks like it's closed off, but apparently it wasn't entirely closed off. Something like that. So in the case of the Pluminix, there is no hole whatsoever. So you can just put in ink, and you significantly expand ink capacity, because the Pilot Pluminix only takes Pilot cartridges, which have a fairly broad opening. I've got a converter in here, and as you can see, that's a really wide opening. The Pluminix only takes standard international cartridges, and I'm sure you can, I'm sure you can fit some, I don't know, like a Monteverdi mini converter. You can probably fit that in. But I decided to go for the eyedropper conversion, a couple of milliliters of ink. I haven't measured it, but it's pretty nice. So that works well, no leakage whatsoever. So if you like that kind of stuff, you can do it with this pen. Alright, size-wise, now first let's go to the nib. It's nothing too spectacular. It's a medium italic nib. It says Pilot and some other stuff. It says Pilot Super Quality Japan Medium, and it's italic. As you can see here, it has a sort of flat end. It's not rounded off, and there is no tipping. It's just italic. You can exchange nibs between this pen and the Plumix, but not the feeds. That's what Alan told me. So that sounds plausible. So you can switch them around. Although I have a medium on this pen too, but if you don't, then you can switch them out. And for example, you can buy the Pilot penmanship. Is it called penmanship? I've reviewed that too, and that comes with an extra fine nib. And it being Japanese, it's super ultra mega fine. So if you like that kind of stuff, you can take that nib, put it on here. Alright, size. It's a small pen. I'll take some measurements later on, but I mean, it is, for me, it's too small to use unposted. It sort of disappears in my hand. You can post it, and it's just a small cap, but it gives just a bit of extra length. I'm really talking about a centimeter or something, and that's good enough. Then I can use this comfortably. So as I said, small pen, but pretty nice. The nib is a fairly sharp italic. It gives you nice, decent, lot of line variation. Quite cool. I like that. It's not scratchy. I think it's a pretty nice nib, but because it has that sharp italic stuff going on, you really have to make sure you align it well. You'll see that in the writing sample. And you know what? That's pretty much all there's to it. Things I like about it, things I don't like about it. Well, it's small, it's portable. I guess that's cool. It feels plasticky. It's not a hugely expensive pen, but it doesn't feel like one either, which is realistic, but it's just the way it is. I'm not sure whether I like that weird cap design, but I have to admit it's functional, it works. It's a portable pen. You just throw this in a bag, and probably not as an eyedropper. If anything, a book or something hits this and it cracks open, you've got a problem, but you can just take it with you wherever you go, and that's kind of nice. So there you go. I hope that was useful. I think we need a writing sample next, and I don't see you later yet. I have to take some measurements. How can I forget? Well, I have a cold. Wait, it comes into about 10 grams, and that is with a lot of ink in there. With a cartridge is probably a little lighter. Then you have to take some measurements, simple measurements. I have got 120 millimeters. That is 4 inches and 45/64 of an inch. Capped, uncapped, always a little bit more difficult. There we go. This is 113 millimeters long. That is 4 inches and 29/64 of an inch. The section a little hard to measure. I'll take the narrowest point, which seems to be in the middle. That's about a good 10 millimeters, just a little over 10 millimeters, and that would be 26/64 of an inch. And the widest point, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that makes a lot of sense to measure that because of these sort of facets, and that's just the way you're going to hold it, probably at the narrowest bit. It's sort of how it was designed, but the widest bit where you seem to be able to hold it, I would say, is 11 millimeters. That's about 27/64 of an inch. And that's all there's to it. So now, that was all there's to it. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.
Donc, écrire avec la Pluminix. Et ceci n'est pas un personnage d'Astérix et Obélix. Pilote Pluminix. I will not do the whole thing in French. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. The ink is Waterman Florida Blue / Serenity. And the nib is a medium, right? Writing is very smooth on this paper, which is because it's rhodia, which is really nice paper to use. If you use some cheaper paper, it's a little less smooth, but this really cool paper works very well. As you can see, you get some nice line variation, but before we go into that, maybe just do some fast writing. Looks good to me. I don't see any skipping, which is quite impressive. The pen is in eyedropper mode, by the way, and I've already told you that, so it's got a lot of ink. We can do a lot of sampling. Okay, now I want to see the wetness. Fairly nice, even patch of ink, fairly wet. And then the line variation, which is actually fairly spectacular for a pen of this caliber, I think. I'm not applying more pressure here. I will try to give you some more pressure. As you can see, you can make the tines open up a little bit. This is no pressure and that is pressure. Pretty nice, but because of the italic shape, you get this nice line variation here, and you know, if you can sort of capitalize on that a little bit and really get a nice line variation going in whatever it is you are writing. So pretty cool pen. I enjoy it. It's small, but it's fun to use. I could recommend these. I would also write upside down, right, with the nibs. Well, let's see what we can do here. Very fine lines. The pen doesn't really seem to like that a whole lot. But with an italic nib, I guess that's somewhat to be expected, although this really doesn't have any tipping at the bottom end. Well, anyway, here you have the Pluminix. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.